Greetings fellow gamers, I'm the Soulsborne Seeker and today I'll be reviewing Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, an action-adventure platformer Metroidvania title releasing by Ubisoft on the 18th of January 2024 and available for PC, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, as well as the Xbox Series X and Series S. Prince of Persia The Lost Crown is the latest installment in the popular franchise of the same name, which started back in 1989 but came to prominence in 2003 with the publication of Prince of Persia The Sands of Time and its various sequels. The Lost Crown differentiates itself from the previous games as it introduces its own separate canon, giving us a new protagonist as well as a fresh storyline to follow, making it an ideal entry point for those who may not have had previous experience with the IP. Story-wise, we step into the role of Sargon, a skilled fighter and member of the Immortals, a group of 7 powerful warriors tasked with the duty of protecting Persia from its enemies. The tale begins with the land under attack by the Kushans, an army of brutal soldiers who march upon Persepolis under the leadership of General Uvishka, a merciless warlord determined to bring the city to its knees. Unfortunately for him, Sargon and his comrades manage to decimate his troops and save Persepolis from destruction, bringing peace back to the land, though a peace short-lived. During the victory celebrations in the palace, Prince Ghassan, the son of Queen Thomyris of Persia, is abducted by Sargon's mentor, who then flees with the prisoner to Mount Qaf, an old citadel that was home to the previous ruler and predecessor of Queen Thomyris. Losing no time, the Immortals embark on a quest to rescue the prince, a journey that will lead them down the sprawling paths of the ancient ruin and bring them face to face with primordial legends and terrifying revelations. I have to say that the plot of The Lost Crown is among the most surprising, engaging and emotional I've had the pleasure of witnessing in the last few years, full of twists and turns, most of which I did not see coming, especially during the second half of the game. The narrative is revealed to you in a variety of different ways, from item descriptions and fully voiced dialogue all the way to beautifully rendered cinematic sequences, with each of these elements further fleshing out the world, characters and lore in a way that makes you feel like you are reliving a lost piece of Persian folklore. The story is further strengthened by the presence of Sargon, our protagonist, a man with a strong moral compass who sometimes struggles to keep his more intense emotions in check but always strives to do the right thing, making it easy for us to identify with him and his ordeals. Thankfully, good character work doesn't stop at Sargon, but extends to the rest of the supporting cast as well. While not all of them get the same screen time, the writers have done an amazing job of conveying their personalities, beliefs and convictions through their choice of words during conversations, which are even more enhanced by the incredible performance of the voice actors bringing them to life. Of standout commendation are also the cutscenes themselves, especially when it comes to fighting and action, with the choreography involved here being incredibly stylized and frenetic, while at the same time maintaining the epic undertones the tale is going for, which, when combined with the phenomenal voice acting mentioned previously, results in scenes you won't be able to look away from. I highly recommend going into the game blind and avoiding any spoilers, because it truly is a treat to watch how everything unfolds and to experience the setting untarnished. Speaking of setting, Mount Qaf, within which the game transpires, is a truly magnificent and extensive map to explore. The world is filled to the brim with a variety of different secrets and collectibles, some of which are guarded by powerful enemies, while others are hidden at the other end of elaborate platforming segments that will require lightning-fast reflexes and timely observation for you to overcome. Said collectibles range from objects that flesh out the world's history, to special material necessary to upgrade your weapons and accessories, all the way to health upgrades and time crystals, the latter of which function as the game's main currency and can be utilized with the various merchants that populate the world. As expected from the genre, not all areas will be accessible from the beginning and will require of you to discover certain feathers that grant new abilities, most of which are related to the platforming side of things and will allow you to access those previously inaccessible places. I have to say it was intensely satisfying to see the intricate platforming for which the series is known being present here as well, especially the segments that required the combination of various different abilities for you to survive, giving you an immense sense of accomplishment once you manage to finally reach the other end of the gauntlet and get your reward. Furthermore, you'll also deal with puzzle challenges that don't just test your reflexes but also your intelligence, necessitating critical thinking to find creative solutions that may not be immediately apparent. With the map being quite large, the game also features a nice fast travel system that lets you teleport between certain statues that you first need to find and activate, which I found incredibly definitely useful, though I would have maybe liked to see one or two more of them. When it comes to exploration, I have to give special note to the accessibility features included in the game that allow players to tailor the experience to their tastes. The most important one is the option you have at the start to choose between what are known as the exploration and guided modes, with the former being aimed toward the more hardcore gamers who don't want any hand-holding whatsoever, while the latter offering signals across the map for you to know where you need to go next, as well as marking areas you are not able to go through at certain points in time. Said modes can be exchanged at any given moment, so feel free to try them out and see which one is right for you. Another interesting accessibility option is what is known as the memory shard, an item that allows you to snap a picture of the place you're currently in and mark it on the map so that you can remember to come back to it later. Aside from that, you can also expect the standard of placing marks on the map on your own as reminders to revisit certain places. Moving on to combat, Mount Qaf is not only home to perilous traps, but also deadly enemies that you will have to clash against in order to bring your quest to fruition. Fortunately, Sargon has access to both melee and ranged battle capabilities in his arsenal in order to decimate his foes in style. On a basic level, you'll get to hack and slash your way through your opponents by using your dual blades, which start with a 3-hit combo that can subsequently be improved for up to 5 consecutive slashes given the right equipment and upgrades. Later on in the game, you also obtain a bow which will allow you to shoot arrows from afar, making your life much easier when it comes to flying adversaries. Aside from these weapons, there's also a variety of different accessories in the form of amulets you can discover, with each one providing different enhancements in terms of fighting and exploration, and only allowing a certain number of them to be equipped at any given moment, meaning that you will have to really consider your playstyle when deciding which amulets are the best fit for you. Additional to the above pieces of equipment, you also have access to potions that you can use in order to replenish your health, starting with 1 vial and given the opportunity to upgrade for more later on. Finally, Sargon is also capable of utilizing special moves that need Athra to be activated, which is a form of energy that is gained mostly by dealing damage to enemies while avoiding it yourself, and can really turn the tide on combat sequences that may appear lost. Amulets and Athra moves can be selected and switched at certain arcane trees that you find on your path, which also replenish your health and potion vials. On the topic of upgrades, you'll be given the opportunity to improve all of your equipment with the help of merchants and a blacksmith, all of which will increase the efficiency of the various weapons and accessories you have, always for the right price, of course. From improving the amount of damage or extra health offered by an amulet all the way to strengthening your swords and bow, you'll really want to invest in some enhancements in order to be able to survive some of the later battles of the game, especially when it comes to boss fights. On the topic of bosses, I'm excited to report that Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown features some of the most amazing bouts against big bads I've experienced in recent years, and definitely shows the way forward for upcoming games in the genre. Every single villain you face is a thrilling event where observation of attack patterns, speed of reaction, and timing of counterattacks is the key to success. Almost all of the bosses provided a healthy challenge while never feeling unfair, and actually encouraged you to make use of the various different skills you obtained during your journey, some of which you may have initially thought were only aimed toward platforming and exploration. As an added comment here, I must say that I loved the fact that each boss actually got a sort of lore build-up before the showdown with them, instead of just being a random enemy that you fight in an arena. Every big bad you come across is ingrained in the world's history and referenced in texts that you find and conversations that you have, meaning that by the time you finally meet them, they're more than just huge monsters, but rather creatures of legend deserving of your awe. It also helps that each one has an intro and defeat cutscene, making the cinematic experience all the more intense. Difficulty-wise, I played the game on Warrior, which corresponds to the standard challenge level. However, the game features an easier mode as well as 2 much harder modes and a custom one for you to try and tailor the experience to your exact specifications. For my input, I found that Warrior offered a very healthy challenge, requiring fast reflexes and strategic approach to combat without feeling overwhelming, while still giving you a run for your money if you aren't careful. On length, it took me about 13 hours to finish the game with 63% of collectibles found, with an estimated additional 5 to 6 hours to go for 100%. With reports of other players mentioning that it took them 30 to 35 hours to go for 100% on the hardest difficulty, I'd say Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is worth its asking price of $50 considering the amount of content offered. In conclusion, I had a blast playing Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I was hooked by its narrative full of unexpected twists and turns, I adored the challenging and creative platforming segments and the exploration that went with them, I loved the combat system and was blown away by the boss fights. I would have liked to see a couple more fast travel points across the map, but this was by no means a truly noticeable gripe. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is a wonderful comeback for the series and an amazing entry in the Metroidvania library of games that should be experienced by everyone who enjoys the genre. My final verdict on Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is 9 out of 10. What did you think about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown? Have you played it yet? Do you agree with the points I mentioned, or do you see things differently? Let me know in the comments below, and please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, Soulsborne Seeker out!